Hi everyone, this is Exploring the Bio Edge, and today we're going to be asking, why did land tortoises not reach Australia? For Australia has no land tortoises. Well, most of you will be thinking Wallace's Line. Wallace's Line, the great sea barrier that separates the old world, Southeast Asia, from Australia and New Guinea, and which has prevented so many animals and plants from crossing to Australia. Well, it doesn't really stack up. Firstly, there are more than 30 species of freshwater amphibious tortoises in Australia, fully native, that have been there for millions of years. Why didn't they radiate and evolve into fully terrestrial tortoises? Secondly, the Maolaniidae are an archaic group of terrestrial chelonians convergent with land tortoises that did in fact live in Australia for millions of years, but they went extinct fairly recently. Why did they go extinct? The box turtles have crossed Wallace's Line from the Southeast Asian mainland to reach the last outpost of Indonesia, right on Australia's doorstep in Timor. If they could cross all those sea barriers, why didn't they go on to cross the final hurdle to get to Australia? An even more spectacular lineage of giant tortoises, Colossocheles, also crossed Wallace's Line and reached Timor, only to go extinct at the end of the Pleistocene. But they theoretically could have floated across the mere 80 kilometers remaining of sea barrier to reach Australia. And the fact that they didn't doesn't really bear out the importance of Wallace's Line. Giant land tortoises also crossed Wallace's Line at a different point to go from Borneo to Sulawesi. And that illustrates again that Wallace's Line does not explain the failure of tortoises to reach Australia. If you go further west in the Indian Ocean, there's an archipelago called Aldabra on which land tortoises live to this day. And to reach Aldabra from Madagascar involved several hundred kilometers of sea crossing, which these tortoises are known to have done on at least 3 separate occasions in their evolutionary history. And more recently, one individual of the Aldabran land tortoise washed up on the East African shore with barnacles on its feet after floating and swimming for at least 740 kilometers, which is far longer than, far broader than the distance between Timor and Australia. And finally, we know that the Galapagos Islands is famous for its land tortoises. And to reach the Galapagos, the tortoises had to cross 2 different oceans at various times of their evolutionary history. Firstly, they had to cross from Africa, the origin of land tortoises, to reach South America when the Atlantic was fairly narrow, but was still wider than any seas separating Southeast Asia from Australia today. And then once established in South America, they had to cross again from the Ecuadorian coast to reach the Galapagos, which again is a very wide sea barrier of several hundred kilometers, which makes Wallace's Line look fairly puny. So if you take those 7 factors together, the whole notion that Wallace's Line was a sufficient sea strait to prevent land tortoises from reaching Australia seems to break down completely. And in our next video segment, we'll look at some more plausible ecological reasons for the failure of land tortoises to live in Australia today. See you next time at Exploring the Bio Edge. Bye.